Okay, everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino, for my post-market wrap-up on this Friday. What a Friday! I was almost going to break out the guitar, but I just couldn't do it. I really couldn't. So let's talk about this day, what we heard. It's almost, no, it is. It's beyond belief. Seriously. Okay, let's start off with this. Stocks did finish higher across the board. The Dow Jones Industrial Average put on a gain of 114 points after being down 360. At one point, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up almost 200. We'll talk more about that in a moment. We're talking about a mega swing today in the stock market, and it was driven by none other than Treasury Secretary Mnuchin. Mnuchin speaks, and the market reeks. Seriously. The title of this video, at least I think that's what it's going to be. I never know my titles until I finish because I have no idea what I'm going to say. Seriously. All right. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it a little more fun for us. I'm going to read a few things to you. So the market, as we know, earlier we were down 360 points at the low. When I did my video this morning, I explained to you the market was not down that bad, about 150 points, and then we just started peeling off points. And then all of a sudden, at 12 noon, almost as if on cue, 12 noon, that's interesting, keep that number in mind here, Secretary Mnuchin says U.S.-China trade talks were constructive. All of a sudden, the market takes a deep breath and whammo, starts gaining. Despite the fact that we just hit China with all these new tariffs and everything, doesn't matter. Looks like the market might actually shrug that off. And I want to talk about that too. I know how sick that sounds, but I want to put a perspective on that. So anyway, let's go back to the market real quick. So Mnuchin, noon my time here, so 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, he comes out with that comment. Stocks just took off on that comment. It was almost like a cue. Like, okay, 6 banks on Wall Street that I talked to in December to pump up the market, let's go. That's really what did happen. I'm sure of it. And then another cue came at the end of the day when the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up almost 200 points at 12:30. He said, Mnuchin says, no more talks are planned. All of a sudden, boom, stocks went down. The NASDAQ went negative. The Russell 2000 went negative. The S&P 500 barely hung on to gains. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was also going into negative territory. Not exactly, but trying to. And then the last 15 minutes, it got propped back up. Almost like on cue. 12 noon my time. Boom. Mnuchin says, okay, constructive. We've heard these terms before, tremendous, fantastic, fabulous. Now they're constructive, even though, the trade war is now escalated. Market doesn't seem to care. Again, keep that in mind. And then we get 12:30, exactly, on cue. Okay, no more talks. Bam, stocks come down. Kind of interesting, if you ask me. Now, I want to cover this with you real quick, and I think you're going to enjoy this part. We always have some fun. We always have a little fun here. All right, now look, I had just said that, as a matter of fact, let me just read the title. This is an article I wrote a little earlier. I posted it on Steemit. I'll put a link in the description of this video so you can read this article as well. It's interesting. It'll have that little timestamp with Mnuchin as well. You're going to love it. Anyway, let me read this to you. Title, Will the Market Shrug Off the U.S.-China Trade War? Question mark. By me. All right. Is this market, I'm reading this to you, is this market really pinning its hopes on a China deal? If no deal is had by Monday or Tuesday, I cannot see. This is what my initial thought. I cannot see how any amount of tremendous, fantastic, or constructive, etc., will stop a sell-off. We are already in the president's alternative deal. Is that kind of like an alternative lifestyle? Is that code for I'm a cross-dresser? Nothing wrong with cross-dressing. think I'm supposed to say that, right? Okay, anyway. Actually, no. The market knows that the American people will be forced to bail out industries directly and also bail out the markets with a rate cut and more quantitative easing. This is what the president has been crying about now for a while. Hence why the market may just shrug all of this off. It's crazy. Crazy. I want to read something else to you, because this is the kind of stuff that drives me nuts to the point of where I want to freak out. All right. So let's expose a lie here. And for those of you that actually, someone argue this. Okay, argue this. Here's lie number one. There's a couple of lies, but let's talk about this one. Exposing the lie. President Trump says China is paying billions of dollars as a result of these increased tariffs. Well, this is a lie. Yeah, the tariffs are being paid by U.S. importers in the form of customs duties and then passed on to U.S. consumers in the form of higher prices. Yeah, okay. Someone please argue that, especially for all of you people who couldn't care less if President Trump took a dump in the middle of Times Square in broad daylight. That would be fine with you. All right. You know, it just goes on and on. It's almost too much. It really is. You know, let me read one thing else to you that I want to clarify, and I want you to listen to this because it's just totally insane. Here we go. Here's another fact that I want someone out here, again, who wouldn't care if President Trump took a dump. The Trump dump. If there was a Trump dump in the middle of Times Square, dispute this fact. Fact. The U.S.-China trade deficit creates a $300 billion loss thus far. 400 billion being offset by the 100 billion of Trump's initial tariffs that China's not paying for. Okay. Now, this new alternative deal will indeed magnify this deficit. Yes, we will get more tariff revenue, and the president will tout that. But, he will not tell you how much the gap is costing America. Now again, dispute it. Feel free to dispute these things, because if you just let your fingers do the walking, because look, none of this is hidden. I know that you get it. None of it. It's all available publicly for you, for me, for anybody. But the fact of the matter is, most people conjure things up in their own minds, especially those that are programmed. I am programmed. I am programmed. Here we go. Yeah. Anyway, look, what else is there to say after a face like that? Seriously. Look, I love all you guys and girls. I really do. Even those of you who couldn't care less if President Trump took a dump on the hood of your car when you and your lovely wife or very handsome husband were off to some black tie event and there was a big turd on your hood. As long as it was by the president, that would be just fine. Look, it's Friday. I'm going to leave you off with the turd on the hood thing. I'll see you sometime this weekend to do a market look ahead segment. With that said, people, love each other, care about each other, be charitable. See you over the weekend.